So I want to talk this one about something I was thinking about last night. I read some articles yesterday. I was browsing on the phone a little bit, and I read some articles that scientists now think that we may be living in a black hole. And I thought, wow, what an interesting thing. And this article prompted some thoughts or sparked some thoughts that I had had over time. My mind's been playing with this thing, this concept, for a few years now. It came to me the first time that maybe we are living in a black hole. And if I remember right, the thoughts started coming to me 3 years ago by the idea of just looking up at the stars and thinking, wow, there's a lot of darkness out there. And as I was on the beach, I think it was a few years ago when I was living on the beach. And when you live on the beach, you just watch the sun, you watch the stars, you watch the moon. You're connected to these cycles. So the ideas came to me by just sitting there and just watching the sun as the earth rotates around, and then watching the darkness as I look back away from the sun. And I started to think, wow, what an interesting thing. As I face the sun, I see this bright ball of light that exists in the darkness. And I started to think, wow, we're just surrounded by darkness except for this ball of light, which is in the center, and also these little spots of light, the stars, as we look out into the darkness. So here we are on the earth. When we face the sun, we see this ball of light. And does it not look like a portal? I mean, it is so interesting. We're taught not to look at the sun. And I think it's such an interesting thing because I got into sun gazing a while ago, and it was fascinating. Sun gazing is the idea of looking at the sun with the idea that it nourishes your body. And there's certain components in the eye, in the actual physical constituents of the eyeball, which allow light to be absorbed into our body. And there's a whole science behind it, but people have gone years and decades without eating and just looking at the sun and getting their nourishment from the sun. And what I started to notice by being outside is, wow, it is so interesting that every day in our reality, there is this huge orb of light, a portal of some sort, that exists in the darkness, that floats above our head. And the light pouring out of this portal lights up everything around us. And this thing floats over our head every day. And nobody ever looks at it. In fact, in our culture, we're taught not to look at it. We're told it'll burn our eyeballs out, and it probably will if we just stared at it right away. But with sun gazing, what you do is you just start looking at it little by little, and each day you add a little bit more time. And they say the components in your eye, because we don't stare at the sun, these components aren't used. So it's like lifting weights. You have to do it little by little and just build up the tolerances. And eventually you can just look at the sun. Your eyes have that ability, and it doesn't hurt them. So I think it's so interesting, though, that we are taught not to look at the sun. And not only are we taught not to look at the sun, but we are taught to fear the sun in some crazy way. We don't go outside without coating our skin in these toxic creams and lotions. What for? For fear of the sun. And now you can see over the last few years, a lot of studies and documents have come out that the sun itself is actually not responsible for skin cancer, which is what most of us are taught to believe. Skin cancer comes from different things, and they found that actually skin cancer is caused a lot by the creams that we put on our skin, and also from the lack of sunlight. So obviously it's not good to go outside and burn every day, but sunlight in certain amounts is good, and our body builds up tolerance. The more that we're outside, the more it builds up a tolerance to the sun. So I think it's really interesting that we all fear the sun so fanatically. We don't look at it. And when we go outside, we put hats on our head to cover it from our faces. And when our skin is exposed to it, we cover it with creams. And we are taught to fear the sun. And yet, is not the sun the most interesting thing in this world? Oh my God, there's just nothing else like it. You can look at the trees, you can look at the birds, you can look at the ocean, you can look at the sea, you can look at the mountains. There's so many things to look at, but there's nothing like the sun. It's just something else. And so this idea of the sun being a portal started coming to me a few years ago. And it came by just this idea of turning. Okay, I'm facing the sun, now I'm turning and I'm looking at the stars. And when I'm facing the sun, I see this light flowing out. When I look out at the stars, I just see darkness. And I started to realize, okay, we exist in darkness. There's darkness all around us. And if we were in a black hole, from what I understand of black holes, is they just suck light in. And it sucks light in until it becomes so dense. Like, they're so dense, these black holes. They're like small, but they have the mass of millions of suns. So they just suck light in until it becomes so dense. And then there's a black hole, and there's something on the other side of the black hole. And some scientists now say the black holes connect to different parts of the galaxy. Somehow, and there's a lot of speculation, and science is questioning what's on the other side of the black holes. Because there's what's called an event horizon on the black hole. And the event horizon is what we see. It's the point at which this light is just brought into such density that it somehow disappears into another place, into this black hole. And it can't be seen. There's no more light. There's no light emanating from this black hole. There's no light coming out from this black hole. So, think about this in the context of ours. Just forget what we're told about the sun, and but keep the idea of the black hole in mind. And now, I wonder, if we are turned towards the sun and this orb is floating over us, what would the event horizon of a black hole look like from inside the black hole? I think it would look like the sun. You have this black hole sucking in massive amounts of light into density and then bringing it into some other place. Does it not look like, when you look at the sun, does it not imagine that you are looking into another world of light? Like this is a portal into a world of this pure light somehow, or this other realm. And maybe this light from this other realm is being sucked into the black hole. Maybe the sun, on the other side of the sun, like not when the sun turns, but like on the other side of the sun, in another dimension or something, the sun actually is a black hole. Imagine this. So what if the sun was a black hole in another dimension, and this dimension was full of infinite light? And what the sun was doing was pulling this infinite light into it from the other side. And we were on the inside of the black hole watching the event horizon. We were watching the sun. We are watching that black hole event horizon from the other side, from the darkness. All of the light has been brought down, and it's become so dense that it's crystallized and formed into planets, into our bodies, into these trees, into everything around us. It's very dense here. Look at it. Imagine this place. You can feel the density. You can feel the pull on your body. You can feel how heavy this place is, this world. You can feel the density. You can't put your hand through things. Just start thinking about this idea of light becoming so dense that it becomes hard, becomes solid. And it takes on shapes and forms. Maybe of the things that black hole swallowed on the other side of the event horizon. So maybe we got sucked into a black hole. Our light awareness, our light bodies, whatever you want to call it, the realm from which we come from, because all of us, most of us anyways, feel like we're a little bit bigger than this place. And that we don't quite belong here. There's something wrong. But maybe we do belong here. Maybe this is just an experience. Maybe we entered into a black hole, willingly even. Who knows? But maybe we, from the other side of this black hole, decided to go into the black hole to see what was there. And when we came into the black hole, we spewed out of the sun somehow and into this density. And our awareness took on a space in this density that was vibrationally aligned with it, with what we were in the cosmos itself, in the other side of the black hole, in this realm of light, which we just see being sucked in through this black hole, because we're on the other side of it, the sun. We're just like on the inside. So maybe we're existing inside a black hole, and as the Earth turns around to the darkness and we see the stars, we're just looking out into somehow the density of the black hole. Like we're looking away from that event horizon. We're looking out into the darkness. Because I've always wondered, why is there so much darkness? There's light everywhere. There's stars everywhere, but everything's so dense. This light isn't expanding out. Space is just filled with darkness. We are in a realm of darkness. It is. And it really seems like we're inside of a black hole. And just imagine, what if we just took on the density? What if we're just experiencing light really dense right now inside of a black hole? So what's interesting is I've had these thoughts for a while, and now just lately, yesterday I think, or the day before, I read that scientists are not coming out with that same kind of theory, that we're actually existing inside of a black hole. And what's also interesting, I want to tie this into this idea of what's about to come, because all of us are talking about the event. It doesn't matter if you're Aboriginal, you have prophecies of the fifth earth, the new earth. Some traditions say the sixth earth. If you're Christian, you have the Armageddon. If you're Muslim, you have this. If you're Jewish, you have the return of the Garden of Eden. Every culture and everything, and every one of us, I think, feels like there's something coming right now. There's some event coming. Let's call it an event, because that seems to be the name it's taken on in these esoteric realms. So now, yesterday or the day before, I also read an article talking about that they're watching the black hole in the center of our galaxy. And it is starting to emit light. Oh my God. What if we're watching almost like a fractal, like maybe a black hole creates the event horizon and the back end of it also, which is another black hole, like at the center of our galaxy, because they say in the center of our galaxy is a black hole. So what if we watching the sun, which is one black hole, and it's connected to the center of our galaxy, that other black hole, and we're kind of in the middle, in this darkness, in the densified darkness of this black hole, and these are the boundaries of it, the center of our galaxy and this. And none of them are really real. It's just an illusion of density that we've entered into when we came into this black hole. And so now, the black hole at the center of our galaxy is now emitting light. This is something fascinating. What if we are inside a black hole? And what if our black hole also is beginning to emit light? Meaning that something is happening with the black hole that we are in, and instead of sucking light in, it is about to spew everything back out into this other realm of light, into this less dense realm of light. And what if the stories about the black hole at the center of our galaxy are actually talking also about our sun, because they're connected? And what if our sun is also starting to emit light through onto the other side? Because something is going on with the Earth also over the last month or two, and especially this last week. The magnetics of the Earth are going crazy. You can see it on the NASA satellites. A lot of us have been watching these things. You can find reports, people that report on these things on YouTube. The magnetics of the Earth are going crazy. Something is hitting us. Something is hitting the magnetic field of the Earth. It's coming from space. It's not coming from the sun, because the sun isn't doing anything when these events come. And it is hitting the magnetic field of the Earth and just playing with it and mucking it and turning it. And it's collapsing as these waves come in from space. You can see this all on the graphs. As these waves come in from space, they just twist and they distort the energy of the Earth, and it spins off, and these magnetic balls are thrown off outside of the Earth. And in fact, last week, for the first time, I've been watching these feeds for years. It is so interesting, and they've been building in intensity more and more until now. It's just something is going on with the magnetic field of the Earth. There's no question. And now, for the first time the other day, it looked as though the Earth, instead of being bombarded by these magnetic things and trying to keep its own magnetic field, the Earth was hit by these waves and it began to emit. It actually threw something off of itself, almost like a magnetic surge. It almost looked like a CME from the sun, if you know what those are. And what if the Earth is about to emit? And what if this black hole, which is our sun, is about to emit? And what if everything is about to turn? What if this whole density is about to turn back into a realm of light? What if we're about to be spewed back through the event horizon of the sun? Would that not explain all of the prophecies that have found their way into this dense realm? Maybe they were just stories that we left for ourselves to remember that this would only be for a time and that we would eventually come back through this event horizon. But all of these stories point to something remarkable happening. It doesn't matter if you're indigenous, if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Baha'i, whatever. All these stories talk about a new day that we are entering into, and it seems like that day is today. We can all feel it, and something is happening. What if, it sounds crazy, but science is starting to back this up. And what if this black hole is about to begin to emit? What if the Earth itself, we can see it on these feeds. In fact, when that feed showed the Earth emitting, it was shut down immediately or went offline, and I don't think it's been back online since. It was a week or so ago. So what if the Earth itself is beginning to emit? And what if this whole magnetic twisting going on that's happening with the Earth, we're magnetic also? What happens when the magnetics are shifted? What once attracted now repels. What once repelled now attracts. Because with magnetics, there's only push or pull. And what if as the magnetics of the Earth are changing, because they are, you can see them on these NASA graphs and on these different graphs, something is happening to the magnetic field. But what if as these fields are turning, what if instead of pulling more light in, we are about to emit light as our magnetics turn? Instead of being an attractive force, we are now a positive force. We're putting out, because that's what magnetics do. And what if we are about to emit? What if we are about to go back through the event horizon of this black hole that we are living in? Because it feels like we are living in a black hole. Oh my God. What a dark, dense place. Here we are, just all of us in our own crazy journeys. What hard lives we have all lived. What a hard place we are in, all of us. But we've made it here so far. We've all made it. We've all been taken care of. And we are about to emit. That is what I think. We are about to turn around, and instead of being this negative polarity inside of a black hole, sucking all light into it, and even having to eat from the Earth, we are the point of awareness that is about to real eyes, see with our real eyes, the shift from becoming minus polarity, where everything is being sucked into us, even where we need to consume to eat and where we need to consume to survive. And our polarities are being shifted, that we are now about to emit. We are about to not need anything to exist, to survive, not need to take things in, but we are about to give things off. This is what the black hole is doing in the center of our galaxy. And this is what it looks like the Earth is doing also. And I think that's what we're all feeling right now, is this shift. We are all coming into our dreams right now. I think all of us are having some sort of crazy positive dreams of what we want to do with the world to make the world a better place. More than ever, everybody I talk to has some idea now. They aren't realized yet, but everybody seems to have an idea of what they want to do. Something they can participate in to make things better. And is that not a sign of us shifting, of putting our light out? Instead of just having to take whatever jobs were given to us and just so that we could have the money to survive, now we're starting to think of what can we put back out to the world. What a brilliant time we live in. What a brilliant time. So that's one of the thoughts I had. I hope I explained it well, and I'll share more as I go along here.